What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys how to install a wall hung folding clothesline. Let's do this. So what we've got here, guys, is a Daytek clothesline. Now these guys make an awesome little clothesline that can be mounted on the wall as well as freestanding, and it folds, which means it's perfect for those areas where you don't have much room. This one here cost me about $120. Regardless of which brand you buy, they're pretty much around the same price range, anywhere between $120 to $160. And the reason why I'm doing this video is if you wanted to get somebody to come out and install it for you, it's probably going to cost you about the same amount as what you'd pay for the item itself. That's the purpose of this video, guys, so let's get straight into it. First thing here, I've just opened up everything. We've got this little bag that contains the nuts, bolts, tensioning tool, and also the locking nut. So that's probably the most important. Like I said, doesn't matter which brand you buy, the installation process is going to be roughly the same. Alright guys, so we're going to start by installing our first bracket. Just make sure that you've got the black plastic section facing to the inside of your clothesline. If not, you're going to have it the wrong way around. So just make sure you've got it in the right position. Put your first bracket wherever you want the height of your positioning to go to. Now in this case here, we're going a little bit lower than usual. Usually I install this at 1.6 to 1.7 meters, but in this case we're going to go under a windowsill. So use a little spirit level, make sure you've got it fairly level, and try and position it so that it's on the brick. You don't want to go through the mortar. It's a lot stronger to actually mount this on the bricks. So just take a Sharpie or a texter and you can mark up your little holes. Now there's a whole range of different fixing applications. You can check out my other video if you guys are interested. But in this case here, what we're going to be using is some hex head screws, and these ones here are designed for timber, so they'll work perfect with our wall anchors. We're just using some ramset wall anchors, 8mm, and our screw is 75mm long. So we're using the rotary hammer drill to drill out our holes, making sure that we actually mark this on the brick. If we put it through the mortar, it's going to be way too soft, and there's a good chance that it'll actually come out, especially once we put the clothes on there and add a bit more weight. So we're going to just tap in those plugs using the hammer. Nice and easy, straightforward, guys. It's the next step that usually catches people out. And if we have a look, our spacing between the two brackets are 2 meters and 22 centimeters long. So what I like to do, if you've got a nice flat level ground, you can actually put the tape measure from your first hole, measure it across at 2.2 meters, and then you can take that measurement off the ground, measuring your first holes that you've already put the plugs in for, so we know exactly where that one's going to be sitting at. Take it over to the other side and make our same measurements. This only works if your ground is 100% level. If it's not, there's also another technique that you can do, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. It's basically getting a straight edge. Once again, using a level, just put the level on the straight edge, measure it all the way across, once again at the right measurement for your holes, and then just make your mark. And then you can also put your bracket on the other side, making sure that we've got our positioning perfectly lined up for our new holes, and then drill them once again. So in case you guys are interested in buying one of these, I'm going to put some links in the description below so that you guys can get your hands on them much easier. What we're looking at now is we're going to be installing the actual brackets. So we're going to be using our screws, screwing them into the wall, into the plugs that we've already installed. Once it comes time to do this, I don't screw it in all the way. So make sure that it's about 3/4 of the way in, leave it a little bit loose. And the reason for that is we're going to make sure that it's 100% level with the spirit level before we tighten that up completely. So what I like to do, once again, just put the spirit level on the side. We've got a little bit of play on the top and the bottom that we can make our little adjustments to make sure everything's nice and plumb. Make sure you're happy with everything, and then screw it in all the way. So for the next part of our installation, we're going to use our little corner plastic pieces. These ones here are very light, so make sure you haven't left them in the box. They go on the main front bar, and then we simply slide them onto the actual extension arms that come off the wall. So what we're going to use now is our bolt and our nuts, 2 on each side. Simply put them on hand tight, and then we're going to use our tensioning tool and tighten them up nice and tight. So when it comes time to installing the line, I know it comes all nicely, neatly packed, and it looks like it's going to come off nice and easy. However, I've spent so many times undoing knots in these things, not because they come in knotted from the factory, they actually come in perfectly. However, if you start to unravel that and try to feed it through the clothesline as needed, it's going to start tangling up. So what I like to do is unravel everything, put it all on the ground. Once it's all opened up nicely, then I can start on my installation process for this clothesline. So what we're going to do first, starting from the back end, we've got a little locking mechanism here. So we slide the bottom section in, pull it out a bit more, get that slack, loop it back through the top hole, and then it's got a locking nut that actually sits on top. So once again, we're going to put that in nice and lightly hand tight, and we're going to use our tensioning tool at the end to tighten that up permanently. So to install this, very, very simple, straightforward, just continue all the way around. It's got little clips that the line actually holds into. So you can see there I'm going in a U shape, then I go back to my starting point, make my U pattern again, go back around all the way up until the end of my line. So once we're at the end position, we're going to repeat the same process that we did initially, loop it through the bottom, pull out the slack, making sure we've got a little bit of overhang. The reason why we have overhang is just in case that it does seem to put a bit too much weight on the clothesline and it stretches that line, it's not going to completely unravel. It's going to have a little bit more line to hold on to, and then you can tighten that at a later point. So the way that I like to tension all of this line is I stand on one side, I pull with my right arm, and I feed it back through with my left. So I continue pulling that all the way through, feeding all that slack out of it. Once I get to the end and I'm happy with the amount of tension that's on the line, I'll take my my tensioning tool and I'll tighten on that locking nut. Once you're happy with your line, you can then trim off the excess using a pair of pliers or a pair of scissors. In this case here, this kit comes with a few accessories. So we've got some pegs, a peg bag, and a few other bits and pieces which I'm also going to install. This is one of the best little products out there, guys, especially if you don't have much space. Very easy to install, fairly cheap as well, especially now that you guys have a video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. As always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.